What's up everybody, this is Danny and today I'm in Waikiki at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. This is my last day here in Hawaii, which I'm really sad about, but I am pumped to do this camera comparison. The Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra versus the iPhone 13 Pro Max versus the new Axon 40 Pro. And I'm really curious to see how this video looks because it has the third generation under display camera and it is only in 1080p versus 4K on these. So let me know what it looks like and what microphone sounds better here. So just spend the day with me on my last day here in Hawaii and let's see which camera comes out on top. Let's do it.
So first we started off the day with some iconic pink palace pancakes and they were great, and what's cool is that you can buy the pancake mix there at the hotel if you want, so you can make them at home, and we definitely grabbed a bag. But I also had the short rib Benedict which had a perfect egg on it, so follow me on Instagram if you want to see more travel content. But let's take a look at some of the daytime pictures from these three cameras. The first thing that I noticed is the focal length on the Axon 40 Ultra's camera. The other two are much wider, so you will notice that the Axon's images look more punched in, so don't blame me for that. It's not my framing. I did notice that most of the time the Axon 40 Ultra has less contrast in the processing, so some of you might like that. In some scenarios, this can make the images look a little washed out, as you can see in this color processing in the hallway. In this flower shot, you can see where the Axon produces the brighter shot with less contrast, where the iPhone and Samsung look very similar to each other. Sometimes the Axon is more dramatic with the white balance too, giving this image a clinical look. While that's not accurate to the scene, I can see some of you really liking this. It all depends on the scenario though. Take a look at this one. All three look very similar, but the Axon ends up with the most contrast in color, but this one, it ends up having less contrast, so I hope to see more consistency in the future with software updates. With all of this foliage, it was the best time to test the macro mode on these cameras, and in this scenario, the iPhone seemed to do the best in controlling the harsh lighting, but it is the most saturated, where the S22 Ultra has that great in-between, and this one is closer than the last picture. The colors are very similar, and all of them have great detail, but the best way to see the difference is to punch in, and you can see that the Axon has the least amount of sharpening, where the iPhone has the most sharpening, and the S22 Ultra is in between the two. So we decided to explore a little since the weather was nice, and I thought that this would be a perfect time to test the high resolution mode on the Samsung and ZTE. The Axon has a 50 megapixel mode and the S22 Ultra has a 108 megapixel mode, where the iPhone is sticking to the tried and true 12 megapixels. When you punch in and look at the mountains here on the Axon, the details are really good. And here is an extreme test. Besides the slight cropping here on the Axon, the iPhone is producing the brighter shot and they look pretty similar, but this is the 1000% scale crop and the Axon is very impressive with the building detail. The Samsung is slightly better, but it's not enough of a difference in my opinion. But man, look at the iPhone with just 12 megapixels. It is a little muddier, but it held up very well. But I wouldn't worry about this because most people won't do this anyway, so let's take a look at the zoom options we have on these three phones. The Samsung and Apple phones have a 3x zoom as the first option, where the ZTE gives you slightly more at 3.5x, and the Samsung, of course, having that 10x optical zoom kills this one, where the other two are at 10x digital zooms to match, but it's nowhere near as good as the S22 Ultra. If you're looking into the ZTE Axon 40 Ultra, know that you only get one focal length choice, which is a bummer when it comes to portrait mode. Both the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the S22 Ultra have 3x options, which is a great focal length. Now, all three produced a great looking photo. All of them do a great job with background separation. The warmer tone and balance on the Axon really looks great in this main sensor portrait shot, but I hope that ZTE adds another choice like these other two phones to make the shooting experience more versatile. I took more photos as we walked around Waikiki. The weather was absolutely beautiful, and for the natives that live here, I can see why. It's such a different vibe here, and I love it. It went back and forth on which one took the brightest and more shareable photo right out of the camera. Sometimes it was the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and in this one, it was the Axon 40 Ultra. But I really think when it comes to daytime shots, you really can't go wrong on any of these three when it comes to rear cameras. All very solid in my testing, so since we were so close, we had to get some lunch, and this is a place that I've been wanting to try for a long time, so I'm glad that we got to make it happen.
so Duke's was definitely hitting. Man, that was good. The Mai Tais were incredible, and the food was good too. So we're just walking up and down Waikiki here just to check it out. There's so many stores, so we're gonna do a little bit of shopping, just kind of hang out with the kids a little bit, and kind of enjoy the last day. So, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out to the beach later, and we're gonna take some low light pics out there and see which one does best in low light. What do you think about this front-facing camera quality?
Before we go to the nighttime shots, I wanted to first get some udon. I ate here last time I was here and I just had to have it again. And if you've eaten here before, then let me know in the comment section below. But I got a little crazy. I got the curry and beef udon, which was delicious. And the beef udon, which is just classic. The broth is so tasty when it comes to this combination. And I also got the katsu curry to give me that carb overload with the rice. And believe it or not, I actually ate all three of these, so it was a big day. I don't know about you, but this is how I get when it comes to travel. Hey, you only live once, so we had to try the ice cream at Kith Treats too. But next, I wanted to talk about the 3rd gen under display camera on the Axon 40 Ultra. It looks absolutely fantastic when you are using the phone, and it's really hard to see that camera. But when it comes to the images, as you would expect, it does take a hit on quality. Now, it's gotten better, and I mean the images could look worse, but there is a software sharpening that happens to make it usable. But when it comes to portrait mode, man, does it look like a vintage space filter. The halo effect on this is crazy. Look at my shirt, and this one again is sharp enough to where you could share this on social and probably you won't get much hate on it, but look at the portrait mode, yikes. So if you are really into taking selfies, the Axon 40 Ultra won't be for you. Next is the video. The Axon and S22 Ultra can shoot up to 8K video, but to make it comparable, I shot everything in 4K 30 frames per second. The Axon exports in Rec 2020 colors, so it's all out of whack. So you have to convert this video if you want to make it look good like this. The Axon 40 Ultra video is surprisingly good, and it's close to the S22 Ultra's video, but I still think the Samsung is slightly better, but the iPhone is doing the best with the overall balance and dynamic range, plus the sky color is more accurate to the scene. I made the mistake of not toggling on the anti-shake. If you don't have this on the Axon 40 Ultra, the video looks like an absolute mess. But once you turn it on, it looks so much better. The stabilization though doesn't look as good as the iPhone 13 Pro Max or the Galaxy S22 Ultra. It is still showing more bounce with the walk, but it isn't terrible. The video itself does look good on the ZTE as long as the colors are converted. I did make it to the beach that night to test the low light performance, and what I liked about the Axon is without night mode, it was the most natural. It was really this dark, and this is what I was seeing with my eyes, so this is the most accurate. But when you use night mode, it's like God turned on the studio lights. It's super bright and it looks like daytime. So if you like this type of night mode, then you will love this phone. This one I think is a great photo to test what these cameras can do with just single snap. I'm surprised that the iPhone had the brightest shot here, but when you punch into the image, you can see that the Axon has the cleanest image with the least amount of noise, where the S22 Ultra had the worst noise out of the three, which is consistent with my previous camera tests. The night mode shots from this same scene is impressive on all of them, all very different with the renditions, but dang, I'm surprised that the iPhone pulled this much detail and this much sharpness on the scene. Let me know which one that you like better in the comments below. I took more shots with the night mode enabled, and consistently the Axon 40 Ultra produced the brightest pictures out of the three cameras. Again, this will be personal preference on what you want out of night mode. This kind of reminds me of how Huawei used to handle things at night, just giving you that bright and detailed shot. I think it's neat that with single snap, you get a very accurate looking shot to the scene like here in this dark courtyard, but with that night mode, it just gives you that insane daytime transformation. I mean, look at the clouds back there and the shadow detail that it's reproducing. I did notice that the results aren't this dramatic all the time. Take a look at this one. This one is a little tamer, so it would be nice if there was a slider on how much night mode that you want. I did take some more street shots while I was out, and I did a few video tests, so I'm going to show them to you here. So just let me know which one you think did better in the comment section below. There are so many features on the ZTE Axon 40 Ultra. If you go to the camera family section, there are so many modes. So if you want me to do a dedicated camera review of the Axon 40 Ultra, let me know in the comment section below. I really enjoyed making this video, but I'm going to end this one with a front-facing nighttime video test.
Okay, well that about does it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's about time to get to sleep so I can get on a plane and get back home. So let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. Let me know which camera did better. And let me know if you're actually impressed with the Axon 40 Ultra or not. Let me know.